Hello students, welcome to Science classes. My name is Ashmita. In today's class, I'll be telling you about 15 tips that you can follow while reading the comprehension in the competitive examinations. So let's get started with today's class. The first tip would be to eliminate the words or phrases. In the first point, you have to understand that you need to focus only on the important words. Important words here means keywords of the passage. Now, not all words are important, right? When you are answering the questions, you are definitely looking for the keywords. So, you need to focus on the keywords and eliminate the words or the phrases, or rather I would say sentences which are simply of no use in the passage. The second tip would be to find your strengths first. Here, strength means different things to different candidates. Like for you, maybe your strength is to read the passage first and then go through the questions. For some candidates, it would be a strength to read the questions first and then to go through the passage. Some feel that no, I should be remembering only the keywords. It's their strength. But you know, the greatest strength is to read the questions first and then go through the passage. If you follow this, you will be able to understand what the passage is all about. If you read the questions first, you will at least get to know what characters are there, at least what the passage is about. Otherwise, you have zero knowledge of what the passage is all about. If you go through the questions first and then read the passage, you will understand the passage a bit better than if you follow the other way out. Moreover, if you read the passage first and then the questions, then again you have to read the passage for the second time to find out the answers. That is why I am telling you to follow this pattern of reading the questions first and then the passage. This will also help you in time management. You do not have to read the passage twice or thrice for finding the answers or to find the keywords. The only way to find out your strength would be to practice some comprehensions at home within a given time slot so that you can understand which way is suiting you better. The third tip is to improve your vocabulary. How can candidates improve their vocabulary? You need to go through certain articles, maybe in the newspaper or comics or textbooks or storybooks, or maybe some novels or magazines. Only then you will be able to come across new words for which you need to find out the meanings. You can Google it, or you can also look up the dictionary for the meanings. Then you can just jot them down in a notebook and write down the meanings also. You can go through those meanings periodically, and then you can just remember each of these words along with their meanings. But try to do it each and every day, because if you don't follow a particular routine, you won't be able to maintain this vocabulary system. The next step while reading the comprehension would be to use a pen. While reading the comprehension, if you use your pen to underline the keywords and avoid all the junk words, then you will be able to focus what the passage is all about. It will be easier for you to answer the questions given below much faster. The next tip would be to do a mental math quickly. While giving an exam, you should be able to manage your time. You should know how to manage your time rather. Because if you spend some more time on a particular section, like be it on the reasoning section, then there would be no time left for the English or the maths section. So you need to think beforehand how to manage your time. If you feel that your English section is full of big passages and vocabularies which you have simply no knowledge of and you don't have any time to read the long passages, then please I would suggest you to go over to some other section and solve those first instead of just nagging behind a particular question. Once you get completed with the other sections, if you have time after that, then go over to the long passages because it takes time. Next step would be to practice comprehension from various fields. Practicing comprehension from different fields here means that you will be given a comprehension from either science or social studies or civics or any newspaper article or psychology, any invention, any investigation. So you see, you have to have knowledge of so many things. So if possible, you should be practicing comprehension quite frequently from different subjects. Different passages should be analyzed, their vocabs should be known to you so that it becomes easier for you to understand the passages, because most of the time the candidate gets puzzled after seeing a complex passage. You should be practicing comprehension passages from science, arts, literature, then economics, politics, and so on. The next tip for reading a comprehension would be to focus. Many times it happens that we are reading a comprehension during a given duration of time in the examination hall, but we find that we are reading but our mind is not focused while reading. So we need to first focus our mind, we need to concentrate first on the passage and then read it, otherwise it would be just a wastage of time. The next tip would be to improve your reading speed. It is very important to manage the time which is given in the exam hall, and you need to read quite fast. So you are not allowed to whisper or move your lips and read in an examination hall. Moreover, it's not about getting allowed to read in that way. It's about stopping, or it's about not using that method because it consumes more time. If you read your lips and read, it will take your time. But if you read in your mind and focus your mind and concentrate your mind in that particular text, it will help you to read much faster. So without moving your lips, please try to read. The next step would be to not find the meaning of each and every word. find out the meanings of each and every word during the examination. Most of the words are known to you. The words which are absolutely not known to you, you can first guess it. And if you have negative marking, then do not even try to guess it. Then try to understand with the words which are known to you. If also then you are not being able to understand, then it's the greatest suggestion to leave that if there is a negative marking. Otherwise, you can use your trial and error and guess method in that. The next step would be to solve the previous year's question papers. Solving previous year's questions will help you understand how the questions are given, what marks are allotted for it, whether there are any negative marking or not, what's the time given for solving this particular question, how is the question given, what's the choice given. So you will be able to understand the different aspects of a particular question. The next step would be not to draw any conclusion from outside. Like, you know the passage well after reading it, but it doesn't mean that you need to incorporate your own opinions from outside into the answers. You need to write the answers from the comprehension itself. So you should follow whatever is written in the comprehension and not follow your own mind or some outer knowledge. The next step would be to overcome the panic. Sometimes such complex comprehensions are given that even after reading it for once or twice, you may not be able to understand. So it would be a suggestion that if you do not have so much time, please leave that part and attempt some other question. If you have time, do go over the passage once again and again. If you have time, only then you can go through the passage 3 to 4 times, and then you will definitely be able to understand at least something about it. You can go through the questions, you can go through the vocabs if they are given at the bottom. You can also try to read the questions and then read the passage, so that it becomes easier for you, as I have mentioned in my first and the second tips. So don't panic. If you are not being able to understand a complex passage, try to give some time to it. You will have to leave some time for it so that you can just give some more time to that passage. The next step would be to never lose confidence. If you feel that you are not being able to understand the comprehension passage, the first step is to go through the questions. This will help you a lot in understanding a passage if it is hard for you to analyze. These questions will definitely make you understand the passage. Not 100% maybe, but at least you are going to understand it up to 50-60%. The next step would be to judge yourself. Of course, so many rules are to be followed. If you do not practice, then how will you be able to manage so many tips? You need to incorporate these tips, right? You need to understand which tips are actually working for you. If you go over to the examination hall directly and then try to find out these, then it would be a mess for you. So you need to practice at home, you need to go through the previous year's questions, you need to study so that you can understand that these tips will only work if I prepare and not just like that. The last tip would be to focus and give your best. You need to prepare yourself. Always remember that there is no shortcut for anything. There is no shortcut to success. So prepare yourself, and then only you will be able to succeed and understand the comprehension and the rest of the questions. So that was all for today's class. We are going to meet again in our next classes.